Hello and welcome to Open Door Live. I'm Vince Robinson and I have a very special guest with me. He is Tom Paladino and he is the inventor of Scalar Light. You can see there he is a Scalar Light researcher. He's also an engineer. We just concluded a broadcast on AM 1490 WERE where we were joined by Dr. Trinace Talbert. And thanks to Dr. Talbert, I have an awareness of time and the amazing work that he's doing with this technology. So, Tom Paladino, welcome to Open Door Live.
A pleasure once again. Thanks for the invite, Vince.
Yeah. So I know, we've done this once already, and I'm sure that you've said this so many times. It's been so much redundancy. But for the benefit of the audience, there's so many amazing benefits that can be derived. And we weren't able to really dive into all the work that you're doing because your research is ongoing and you're developing different modalities for different things through this scalar energy. So let's talk about what scalar energy is and how it can be beneficial to human beings.
Sure. Scalar energy, what is that term? It really refers to a spectrum, 0-point energy or chi or prana. It's not electricity. It's not magnetism. So we're working with a massless energy. It's the perfect energy of the universe. Why do I say that? Well, scalar energy is everywhere. It's created by the stars, so it's a perfect information system. And with scalar energy, we can access information anywhere in the universe. So if you can think of your computer system as the cloud allows you to access information in the computer industry, in the computer field. I have something at a even grander scale, which is the information system of scalar energy, which is the information of the universe. All information is stored in this scalar energy spectrum. It's a spectrum that supersedes, I should say, transcends time and space. So it's the perfect information system that I'm working in.
Okay. So your process is to use a photograph, and that in combination with a machine or an instrument that you have created in order to facilitate this. How can you explain how that works exactly?
Sure. These are custom-built scalar energy instruments. Again, I'm not working with electricity. And what I do when working with these instruments, I work with people by way of their photograph. I'm holding up my photograph. People will email me a photograph, and I'll actually place their photograph inside this instrument. So the instrument then would look at their photograph and make a connection with them in the quantum realm or in the scalar energy realm. So this is a way that we can access a person's energy field. Some people call that the aura. We access their energetic force field. And in so doing, then I can send information into that force field. And some of the information that I've been able to perfect is the information that I can send into their force field that will break apart a germ, a microbe. I instruct that force field to accept my information. And in so doing, let's say they had a virus, I could instruct that virus to break apart, to disassemble. So those are just some of the features, some of the instructions that we can work with a scalar energy instrument.
Okay, I was curious when we were having our conversation in the past hour and just ruminating on what you just said. Is there a diagnostic aspect to what you're doing? Are you able to use your technology to determine what's wrong with someone and then address what those vulnerabilities might be?
Yes, at least the diagnostic technique is limited at the present moment. But do I think scalar energy can diagnose anything? Yes, because it's perfect information. So at present, my instrument can be used as a diagnostic tool. Now, I typically don't do that with people. I simply have a standard protocol that I work with people. But keep in mind, if my theory is correct that scalar energy is perfect information, well, part of that perfect information would be perfect diagnosis, so to speak. So to a limited extent, the way at the current state of affairs, the state of the art, if you will, I'm able to diagnose medical conditions currently, yes.
Okay. So when folks visit your website, they can see a number of things that you address with this type of therapy. So they're actually diagnosing themselves and they're saying, hey, I got this issue. I got something that I want to deal with. Right. Tell us what some of those different modalities are.
Okay. We have what is known as a standardized session. And as the name implies, it's standardized to really find its way as a common denominator for everybody. That is, we have 3 sessions. We're able to break down microbes, germs, a microbe cleansing, if you will. We're able to balance the 7 chakras. That's the second modality. And then the third modality, we're able to create or rearrange micronutrients in the body. So a germ cleanse, a pathogenic cleanse. Number 2, the chakra balancing. And the third modality, the ability to create micronutrients. We do all of this by way of scalar energy, by way of a person's photograph. This is the new science of scalar energy, in which the photograph receives the information. There is no in-person session. I work with photographs. I work with the force field on a photograph. And that's really peculiar to my research.
Okay, that's quite interesting. And by using that approach, you're able to deal with a lot of people at one time.
Yes.
So it really has a worldwide reach, and something like this seems so anti-medical industry. I would imagine that they really don't want folks to know about you and what you're doing.
Probably not, Vince. Let's just be blunt about it. I'll give the audience for instance. This is a collage, and I just picked this out, if you will, from the internet. This is a collage of, say, 25, 30 people. One photograph, a collage, would allow me to work with 25, 30 people simultaneously. Now, to put this into motion, my scalar energy instruments could easily work with 1 million or 2 million people a day by way of a photograph. Remember, a photograph can be miniaturized, and I do that. A scalar energy instrument could easily accommodate 1 million or 2 million photographs in one day, so I could send quantum healing to 1 million or 2 million people a day, easily. Now, to address Vince's comment, that's going to be threatening to the existing power structure, and I understand that. But this is technology, this is progress, and we must move forward. We must make progress.
Okay. So you had a testimonial on the air today. Dr. Talbert is utilizing scalar energy. She's sold on it, and having conversations with her, I know that she is very in tune with what's going on in her body. So if as a holistic practitioner, she can be using a frequency machine, and she could have sound therapy available to her, and all the other modalities that she's involved in, and still want to employ the use of scalar light, that's saying a lot about what it can do. She talked about the possibility that it might enhance your mood, if you're suffering from depression or something like that. She also indicated that there might be some hope in terms of treating some of those other diseases that are affecting so many other folks. When we look at what's going on in the allopathic medical realm, and we look at all the medications that people are on right now, because they are using multiple medications and they have multiple side effects because of the multiple medications. And then they say in some circles that all of these different combinations of medications end up leading to Alzheimer's disease. And then there's no cure for Alzheimer's disease. It just seems as though we're walking really into a death trap. When we walk into a hospital and we say something is wrong, something hurts. So can we talk about how this could be an alternative to some of the traditional medical treatments that result in the dysfunction and the disease that we know today?
That's a great point. So let's speak about, again, a scalar energy instrument. I work with these custom-built scalar energy instruments, and these instruments, because I'm working with energy can decide an outcome. The cause is energy, the effect is the outcome, the end result. So with the scalar energy instrument, I can guarantee, and I've done this thousands of times, I can guarantee the destruction, the breaking down, the disassembling of the herpes virus. Now, why is that important? Well, as you mentioned, Alzheimer's. There is a link, there is a correlation to many in the medical community between Alzheimer's and infection by way of herpes. What do I mean? The herpes virus passes the blood-brain barrier and has been found in our brain or in our spinal cord. And many people who develop Alzheimer's seem to have this traveling partner, which is herpes infection of their brain. What does the herpes virus do? It's neurotropic. It attacks our nerves, especially our neurons, our brain cells. And in so doing, it causes neurological impairment. So how do I address that? Well, at least in part, I can address Alzheimer's by eradicating the herpes virus. Now, keep in mind, I'm working in a different spectrum of energy, scalar energy. I don't work with chemicals. I don't work with drugs. I work with energy. And my energy instrument has been shown to break down, to negate the molecular bonds of the herpes virus. Now, I do all of that remotely, again, by way of a photograph. People email me a photograph, and I send energy to the photograph. The photograph is the link, is the quantum link, if you will. So in a nutshell, how do we address Alzheimer's? I don't have the cure for Alzheimer's, but at least I can attenuate some of the symptoms of Alzheimer's by eradicating, breaking apart the herpes virus that has been shown to be at least somewhat a contributing factor to Alzheimer's.
Okay. I think I also read somewhere that you were able to impact the HIV virus.
Yes. Scalar energy allows me to have control over the information system of a virus. So if a virus is held together by a molecular bond, I can negate that molecular bond. And to be quite fluid about this, it's easy to break down the herpes virus. It's easy to break down the HIV virus. You simply negate the molecular bonds that hold together a virus. What are molecular bonds? Scalar energy intelligence, scalar energy instruction. So I simply instruct the scalar energy bond to negate, to break down, to sever that relationship. And what happens? The HIV virus will disintegrate into smaller proteins. So I go on record, and I've done this many times in my laboratory. I can direct energy and break down a virus by way of my instrument.
Okay. I'm looking at some of the programs, and I just want to make this real for folks who are out there. I see you have standard scalar, you have a natural foods program, an endorphin and neurotransmitter, you have specific needs, fat metabolism program, addictive behavior and chemical detox, digestive enzyme program, and you're developing further programs as well. So let's talk about some of these programs that you have.
Sure. Okay. Once again, we're working in the information field. Scalar energy is non-physical. So I'm working with information. And with that information, I can instruct molecules to form. Scalar energy will assemble molecules. Now, how do we do that? Well, for instance, in the human body, we're made up of elements: carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, hydrogen, etc. And I simply send energy into that quantum field, and I rearrange the elements. And in so doing, I can rearrange the elements in our body into, say, the B complex vitamins, or a phytochemical, or an amino acid. So I've always said that scalar energy observes conservation of motion, conservation of energy. We're not creating matter. We simply rearrange matter. And that's the key. So with any type of session that I work with, I don't create matter. I rearrange matter. What's beneficial, I arrange, such as a vitamin, a mineral, a digestive enzyme. If it's unfavorable, a toxin or a microbe, I break it apart. I rearrange that mass So it no longer serves as a functioning toxin. It's no longer a functioning microbe. I disassemble toxins and pathogens. So I have the instrument that allows me to control molecular forms. So I can create a molecule that we want, and I can break apart a molecule that we don't want.
Okay. All right. So I'm kind of curious, about how you stumbled upon this whole technology. I mean, you've been doing this research for over 25 years and you've invented something and you're creating new. What led you to Scalar Energy?
It really is God's calling in my life. It was a fortuitous event. I was able to meet an inventor, Sarah Hieronymus, who survived her husband, a man by the name of Galen Hieronymus, and he was one of the first scalar energy researchers back in the 30s and 40s. And I was able to take his notes and learn from his notes and build instruments from his notes. So this Hieronymus family that I learned from, they really served as, if you will, a springboard to my career.
Okay. I want to get to Brother Ori's question because I don't want to think that we were going to skip over it. So he wanted me to make a correction to the photons versus protons question. Do you recall enough of that to give us a plausible explanation?
Yes. Photons move at the speed of light, and that's been established, and that's theoretically we consider that. Now, if you consider that scalar energy exceeds the speed of light, scalar energy is considered to be instantaneous information delivery. So, if you will, a photon is still operating in an electromagnetic spectrum because it observes the speed of light, approximately 186,000 miles per second. Whereas scalar energy is instantaneous communication. It far exceeds the speed of light. So a photon is still bound to electromagnetic behavior, whereas scalar energy, being massless and not having those parameters of the electromagnetic spectrum, scalar energy transcends time and space. So we're looking at two different paradigms, two different realities. Electromagnetic energy observes the limit of 186,000 miles per second, as opposed to scalar energy that far exceeds that. There really is no distance in a scalar energy paradigm. And there is no, if you will, speed limit. There's no velocity limit. If I will, scalar energy is instantaneous velocity.
Okay. So you have a few different programs that you're involved in, and I'm sure that you're probably working on developing some more. You want to let us know what you have in store for us in terms of things that are on the horizon.
My predecessor, Galen Hieronymus, was working with antigravity, and he developed a scalar energy instrument that actually would levitate, that would experience this type of antigravity phenomenon. Now, I'm not there yet, but I do believe scalar energy is the cause of gravity. And in so doing, if I ever can follow in the footsteps of Dr. Hieronymus, I will develop an anti-gravity instrument. Now, what's the merit of that? Well, obviously, to overcome gravity. Meaning what? Meaning we can have instruments, we can have flying instruments that overcome gravity and provide safe, efficient travel. So in the future, I really don't see how mankind will be using cars or airplanes or buses. I see that the future of travel will be anti-gravity travel.
Okay. So there may be folks out there who are interested in taking advantage of what you have to offer, and you have a special offer for folks who may want to try it out and see if it works. Before we get to that, I just want to talk about actually how it is implemented. So from my conversations with Trinace, she was saying that it's something that goes on for hours. This is something that just becomes a part of you. Could you talk about how it is administered?
Okay. So when we're working with scalar energy instruments, the instruments do all the work. I literally just program the instruments and I walk away. So if you sign up at our website for the standardized session, for 1 hour a day, we will cleanse your body, quantum body of germs. For the second hour, we will balance the chakras in your body. And then for the rest of the day, the remaining 22 hours a day, we deliver nutrients to you. So 24 hours a day, you are experiencing a scalar light session. You're under our care. And what does that mean? Well, it's around the clock care. And a lot of people like that because they feel that their health is improved. Some people significantly because we're working with them and we're improving their health, their biological health, their quantum health, their mental health on an ongoing basis. Now, again, I have to stress, this is a new science and we work remotely. We work with photographs. So this has never been proven or disproven. You can't prove or disprove my work unless you have a scalar energy instrument. Again, I'm working in a scalar energy dimension. So the best thing that we ask people to do is experience it. Again, if you visit our website, you're going to email us your photograph. And in so doing, we will treat you for free for 15 days by way of your photograph.
Okay. So you talk about delivering nutrients. And I just happen to know that one of the main reasons that there's so much dysfunction and disease in America and around the world really is because people are not getting their nutrients. So are you suggesting that you can augment them eating and perhaps even offset some of the damage that's being done by what they're consuming?
Precisely. So if you will, if with a photograph of a person, I can deliver nutrients, and I do so again by way of light, this is pennies on the dollar, if you will, compared to eating, compared to nutritional products. To deliver nutrients by light, by energy, is quite efficient because energy does what you tell it to do. And again, it's inexpensive. Scalar light is free. It's from the stars. So I see that scalar energy, the nutrient part of my program, will be the new way to provide for the nutritional needs of mankind. I realize food is denatured. I realize that we see so many people who are eating junk food or they're compromised in their health. Nutrition is so important. So I propose in the future that the world will receive their nutritional needs by way of light, scalar light.
That's profound, brother. I mean, that is extremely profound because I'm sitting here thinking, and I'm not an engineer, I'm not a doctor, none of that, but I do know that there is a benefit and that you actually get vitamin D3 from sunlight. And
Yes.
You're talking about this being a light-based type of paradigm. So, when we talk about world hunger, people are hungry because they're not getting nutrients. They eat a whole plate full of food. They go back and get another plate full of food, and their body is still craving nutrients that they haven't gotten. But what they ate, it causes fat, it causes cortisol, it causes a whole list of things. So that's just amazing to me. I'm sitting here astounded just by the prospect of the fact that I could be getting the nutrients that I'm missing because, life is life. Sometimes you don't even have time to eat, and then there are those of us who eat way too much. We eat way too much protein and it causes problems. Getting back to our friend, Dr. Talbert, she's vegan. I'm vegan. She told me about why she walked away from meat. And she told me a fascinating story about how that actually happened. But to hear that you can actually get nutrients through this scalar energy process it's just amazing to me. Now, I was looking at some of the other programs that you have, and there's male hormones, and I'm sure the female hormones, the hormonal balance is key to optimal health. So if you can affect positively the hormonal balance, you're really in a good position to improve the health of folks.
Yeah, you're right. It's the game changer, Vincent. And again, I can't stress enough, this is so easy. I work with people remotely by way of their photograph. I've been working with people in Africa who have malaria. And simply by working with their photograph, we're able to break down that protozoan. I'm working with people throughout North America. We provide natural foods to those people by way of their photographs. So it's as if they're receiving all of the plant chemicals found in cucumbers, found in peaches, found in nuts and grains, etc. We're able to deliver all of this remotely by way of photographs.
Okay. Well, I put the crawler on the screen here for folks to connect with you. We could talk about this ad infinitum, but the most important thing is for folks to visit the website, get the information, see what applies to them, and entertain the possibility of implementing this 24/7, 365 as a way of achieving optimal health. So, Tom, I want to thank you for joining me today. This has been absolutely fascinating. When you come to Cleveland, we can do an in-person. I actually have a venue, and we can put 50 or 60 people in there if they want to show up and be there to see what you present in person. I'm also thinking that, and this maybe should be a topic that we talk about off air, but I would really like to see you as a sponsor.
Okay, why not?
I think that there would really be value in that, because people would be able to hear this. And the beauty of radio is that it's repetition. Just like in the brainwashing techniques that they use to keep us in a state of fear, we have to have repetition of positive things that can create improvement in life. So people do know that they have alternatives. Listening to you talk about the possibilities and the wide-ranging impact that this could have, it gives me a sense of hope. We didn't go down a certain rabbit hole today for obvious reasons, because when we start talking about those things, all of a sudden people get spooked because we're contradicting the popular narrative, if you know what I'm talking about. But I just think that it's important for people to know that they don't have to give up hope, that they don't have to live in a depression or a funk because they've learned certain things about something they did and think that it can't be addressed when it can. We talked about the electromagnetic frequencies that we're dealing with and the detrimental effects of microwave radiation and all of that. And the fact of the matter is we are bombarded daily by things that are not in the best interests of our health. Dr. Talbert and I talked about chemtrails, and there's conspiracy theories and urban legends about all of that. But the fact of the matter is there are a lot of toxic chemicals in our environment that affect us negatively. There's fluoride in the water. There's mercury in teeth fillings. There's aluminum in products that we use. There's just so many things that are breaking us down, and we need something that can be restorative.
Yes. And that's what scalar energy is. Remember, it's pure energy from the stars. I think it really is a divine energy. And in so doing, there's no chemical, there's no carbon footprint. You're working with intelligence. So there is no drawback. It's perfect energy, perfect instructions. That's where we're going. We're leaving behind the role of pharmacy. We're leaving behind the chemical molecules. We're going into an information age.
Okay. Well, it's the 21st century. They talk about the fourth industrial revolution and how technology is advancing and advancing to a point where we can hardly keep up with it. So we can either use and utilize and leverage technology to our benefit or our detriment. And as you so beautifully stated during the radio program, you're looking to use technology for beneficial purposes, and not just to a few, but to the masses, to the many. Yes. So I thank you for all the work that you're doing, Tom. Really appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to providing a testimonial myself, because if it does all that it does for Dr. Talbert, I'm sure it will do all it can do for me. So with that, I'd like to thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Vince. Appreciate it.
All right. And thank you to all of you who are tuned in on Facebook and YouTube. This will be posted on the Facebook channel and the YouTube channel. So if you didn't get a chance to check out all of it because you came in halfway through, you can rewind to the beginning and get all that you need to get. And visit the website, scalarlight.com. That's, as you see, SCALARLIGHT.com. Check them out, take advantage of it, and improve your life. Peace and blessings and prosperity to you all. Know yourself, love yourself, be yourself, and make today your best day. Peace. Okay, it's closing down.